Can you hear me now, Locksmith? All right, so there you go. That's how long my delay is. All right, so let me start from the beginning. So what I'll be doing today is installing what's called a Voron TAP. It's an upgrade for a probing system for my Voron printer here. I've already, it's composed of printed parts. I've already printed all the parts and kind of bolted them together for the most part. So for the most part, what today will be is just removing the old probing system and installing this new one. This new one's going to be a little more accurate, and it's actually probing my surface versus the one that's on here is inductive, and it's just probing the steel below whatever the surface actually is. And even though that surface is really fine, very thin, it can still play a role in how well your first layer is, because you're talking about the first layer going down that could sometimes be 0.2 or even 0.1 millimeters thick. So the more accurate, the better. So the one that I have on here, I've actually had some issues with the way that it probes, because before it even starts each print, it'll go around and probe the bed, and it will level itself out. And I've had it fail that probing, because what it'll do is it'll probe each corner a few times and try to be as accurate as possible. And if it's not if it falls outside of the acceptable range, it'll just fail that probing, and then you'll have to start over again, the whole print. Like you have to restart, which I mean it didn't start printing yet, but it's just a pain in the butt, because you hit start and walk away thinking it's going to start, and you come back to find that it failed the probe or something. Or like I have it in another room, so if I hit start and I go start doing something else on my computer and I don't check back on it, then I might find that when I do finally check back, that it's just sitting there and failed. So now I do have two cameras set up, so I should be able to get the better angle, whether I'm working over here or over here on the printer. I may be taking it from the printer, the parts off the printer, and working on it on my desk here. And if I do that, then I can point this camera kind of down at what I'm working on, and give you guys a good look at that. And if I'm working over here, I should be able to move this other camera around to wherever the best view is. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. Not sure how long this is going to take. We'll be doing some work here. There'll even be some configuration upgrades that we have to do on the computer, but I'll probably have to put this over in the other room before we start doing any of that. But yeah, so just figured I would jump on live and just have a little stream about 3D printing and upgrade parts, and kind of like what intrigues me about them is the fact that when something new comes along, you can just print the parts for it and slap it on there. So I ordered this kit that I'm installing is a pre-packaged kit that's made by a company called Physek for the Voron. So I just ordered it from AliExpress, and it took about a week to get here, which is really fast coming from China. And like I said, I've already assembled and installed a lot of the like heat sets and screws and everything to do this install. So I'll explain kind of what this is and why it's better than what I have as we go. And if you have questions, just ask them. But you may also flip a light on over here to give some better lighting as well. Or where I can position it. Set that aside for now. If I need it, we'll see what we can do. So let's go ahead and switch over to my other camera. See what that view looks like. I'm missing one of my screwdriver handles. One of my kids ran off with it to fix something. I should be able to work without it. I have other options, but anyhow, we're going to move over there. So, I will, not the best camera. The view on that one's, okay. But if I'm going to step a little bit farther away from the mic, so if y'all can't hear me, just let me know. So this upgrade is going to remove this entire assembly here, including the carriage that the belt's attached to. First part contains is part cooling fan, hot end cooler, hot end fan. Regular Allen wrench. It looks like. Not too bad of a view. I do want to zoom in, I think, a little bit though. Quiet. Of course, not allowing me to zoom in on that camera. We'll just have to keep it at that view, I guess. There are a few Firing. You guys ever able to hear me all right? Whenever I'm not looking at the mic? Again. Hopefully you can't hear my kids screaming. Probably. No, you guys haven't found the remote. You're just gonna have to tell Siri. Okay, don't hit my bed, please. Okay, go, Vivian. I'm on a video. Go. Okay. I love you. Go watch something. Tell August I said to help you. All right. So all this is going to remain the same. Really changing is this probe here. The way that it probes my. All this is what's getting replaced. All right. I'll be right back, guys. All right. Okay. So one thing we're going to do before I get too crazy in, because this part here is what's holding the belts in place. Before I start taking this apart, I'm going to go ahead and loosen the tension off of these belts by loosening. What I've done is just set this. Now when we start off here, where things are essentially sensing mechanism. these types of surfaces here between metal, powder coat, all thin, but can't measure. So what this is changing is that tab here slide up into break an optical gap. What this was doing is it sat behind the actual printer, or behind the nozzle where the print is out, and it probes at a point that's actually offset from where the nozzle is. It has to use point mapping to calculate the actual position. Whereas set up writing on a bridge here, rail that actually probe tell it that. Oh no, cutting in and out. I might have to switch to the mic on my other camera then. But I want to. I'll try to just point my head towards the microphone when I'm talking, and hope that'll help. All right, we're going to go ahead and just pull this carriage off here. For all that was holding. All right. Yeah, everything. Essentially, this is everything. I'm going to switch the view really quick to show the manual that I'm following. So, that's not a great view. Maybe it's this one. Sorry, I haven't messed with this stuff in a minute. What did I? This one? Nope. Not that one. Oh, wait, maybe that is. Sorry guys, I'm kind of fumbling a little bit here. Now it's, yeah, it's not that one. What did I? Oh, it's this one. I apologize. Sorry, I messed with a bunch of my my settings here. Okay. Turn that one on so you can actually see the printer. I guess I can have both of them on for a second. So as this is just a little note telling me kind of the settings that I need to change. That'll be later. But what I am following for guidance on this is a user manual. I can find it again. Here we go. So what I have already done is everything up to this point. I don't need to install this switch or this magnet or these wires off that switch. So the next step is installing this part in place of where the last piece came off. So let me switch. You don't need this view anymore. And I'll try to make sure I give us a better view on what I'm actually working on there. But we'll get the belts all lined up through it like this as well. I would use what screws it says. So this printer I've had up and running for, oh, when did I first build it? Okay, M3x6 button head cap screws. I'm trying to think of when I first finished this one. It's only been a couple of months. So this one is the one that I built. I printed all the parts and built it from a kit. So all the parts you see kind of hanging in the video right now, and anything that's blue or white is all printed parts. So, and also the right here is it's all printed. I want to say I finished it in like November, right as my bamboo printer got here, I believe, if I remember right. So I'd say about since November. No, since November, it's been up and running. But I've been doing all kinds of different upgrades to it ever since. Like this whole hot end assembly has been upgraded already. I printed and installed a 9 material management system off of it, so that I can do multicolor printing or more multi-material printing. And then now I am upgrading the probe system. So this is about the third upgrade I've done to this printer. So pull my mic over as close as we can get it here. So got calling. It is enclosed, yes. This is on this printer is the printer that I've printed all of the um, SafePal and Ledger cases that I've printed. So I've printed in TU a lot. I've printed EDS parts on this. Try this. I can give you a top down. Try to. Little grooves. Um, has these little grooves, plastic belt place. Taking it off. Scroll back down. They show, yeah, they show them coming out a little bit. Honestly, but really wish I could use right up on a mounted ground. Both set to the same, not about the same amount there. Not focusing. Wider, a lot more. Oh, back through. OCD. give you very, very. All right. Tighten these back down. Back them out. Fairly still. That is main carriage installed. Take a look at what the manual says for the next. All right, so now we're going to put this little rail on, which I have right here. It's sitting on this little temporary rail to kind of keep all the little ball bearings from falling out. And it says we just want to drop it down gently. What I might do before that, though, is just put a little bit of super lube on there. Make sure they're lubed up well. I'll just put it on the rail, I think. That view back. Mic closer again. Tiniest amount. Need washers, some screws, some M3x6 button head cap screws, and washers. There you go. Washers. About them, there is a possibility won't tight. Make sure they are. These are tight. Have belt excess tuck. Oh, okay. It can come. little loophole they gave you. Currently threading just plastic. Poke out the other. Pull the screw. Oh, now. That little tab, you know, at the top right there, up into the opening in here for the optical. Line up. Tighten down. Very smooth. What our next steps are. Hopefully the poor quality of audio and video isn't chasing a lot of yellow out of here. I think we only had about 5 watching or 6 watching when I looked a minute ago. We'll go through. Let me get my face actually off of there so you guys can actually see the manual. All right, so we got these washers in. We didn't tuck these in right now, but that's not a big deal. We can tuck those in a second. So it looks like we're ready to start putting everything back together. So we will get the extruder motor housing assembly there ready to go. And we'll put that on. And it looks like it's saying tool head is flattening. Okay, so this is the bottom part. Whenever it goes on, it's just saying to make sure that the tool head is flat there. So cool. Still here. All right, good. We got 5 of you here, so I appreciate all you coming over and watching. And we've been live for about 50 minutes or so far. We are about halfway through the install, the actual hardware install, and then we've got some firmware settings to change. And when we get to that point, I'll have to go put it back in the closet where it sets, and then we'll switch to being right here at the computer for the most part. So let's go ahead and start getting the extruder assembly. I'm going to put it back together. Would have been better to separate these a little better on it. Having a hard cables to disconnect. So what I'm going to still put it together in the manner that it says to. This one kind of remember right. Hard install. One, two, Okay to the pin line up with that header. Big long ones. Whole thing. So, final part here for hardware, we'll just be getting the loose wires here. Port here. So, make sure we get the pins in the right order. They are labeled on the board itself. Probably too small to read the camera. Red wire all the way to the sensor wire. Hook. Okay. So funny, they reorder the wires where it enters the won't let me blow the picture up bigger, but right here, they've got the wire order, ground, sensor, and volt. This is actually a different order than where it goes on the other wires going into my board are a different pin. So I'm glad I checked instead of just they've got green wire going to the middle pin sensor. Green is sensor. So 24. All right. Volt. Fine. Right connect. Grab it real quick. As long as their wires or their pre-crimped on ends, as long as those match up with my connectors, we should be okay. Nice little box of connectors. So this is just a 3-pin connector. And I've got one right here. So let's see if this is, I know this fits into the socket on my board. The question is whether or not the pre-crimped on terminals there, if they'll pop in there, or if I have to cut them off to crimp on some of these ones. Hopefully I don't. It'd be easier if I don't have to. So let's jump over there and give it a shot. All right, let's see if it'll take it. I didn't. positive. Now, cables managed in well. Kind of little loop to kind of keep it out of the way. Tighten down. Making dinner. Nah, you're good, man. I just figured I'd do had some upgrades I wanted to do. Figured I'd do them live. So hopefully y'all can still hear me. So one thing I'm going to do before I go too much further, there is still quite a bit of slack on these. Starting point. Jump back in the manual because I believe there is a couple of screws on here that I have to loosen up to let some magnets fall into place. So back in the manual. That guy out of the way. That's not the right one. Oh, wait, that was the right screen, just wrong tab. There we go. Okay. So, correct installation. Yeah, I know that's tight, flat, because I checked that while we were going in, so that's good. All right, final assembly. Release the magnets. With tool head assembled, loosen two magnet alignment screws, one on each side. The magnets will pull themselves into alignment with the flathead cap screws, FHCSs. Give the tool head a little shake and then tighten these down. With the magnets aligned and screws tightened, you should be able to push up on the entire tool head and it will move 1 to 2 millimeters before hitting its stop. If your sensor has an indicator light and is connected, it should change state when you push up on the tool head by hand. It's important to test the tap before homing. So this we can't do yet because it's not powered on. So, but that is the final step other than firmware modifications. So, so is this the kind of maintenance I would have to do for the bamboo? No, not at all. So this is more of upgrades. So excuse me. So this sensor right here is what's called an inductive probe. So if you don't know what that is, it uses just like 5 volts or 24 volts or something, maybe 24. I think it's 24 volts. Can be anywhere between 10 to 30 volts will power it. So it just has a sensor in here that when it gets close to like a steel, it will trigger a sensor internally to tell it that it's close to steel. The downside to this kind of a probe on a printer, especially like this, where you have a metal sheet, and then on top of that metal sheet you have a thin layer of either PEI or some other form of anti-stick, or there's a couple of different ways to describe what a printer hot plate is for. Some of it is to promote bed adhesion so that your plastic that you're extruding sticks well, but at the same time you want it to be a property that doesn't stick too well. So this right here is a textured PEI sheet, and so it uses what's called PEI to give good adhesion, but at a heated temperature. But then at a cooled off temperature, it will actually release really easily. So problem with this type of a probe is it can't sense the actual surface of the PEI, especially on a textured one where you have a little bit of variance just because of the texture. This senses right past that and senses only the flat metal itself. So as good as this is, it doesn't actually tell you where the surface that you're going to print against is at. And so that's where it's flawed inherently, especially when you're working in such small measurements. You're talking about your nozzle space between your nozzle and your bed being 0.2 or 0.1 millimeters. That's 100 to 200 microns. So pretty small. You want to be as accurate as possible. So the probe that I just installed, the assembly that we just put on there, it actually utilizes an optical sensor that gets broken when the nozzle itself touches the bed and rises up slightly to break that optical signal. So by design, because this uses the actual nozzle for the probing versus a probe, it solves a lot of problems. One, you're actually measuring the surface no matter what it is, because you're using your actual probe where everything's going to come out as your sensor. And then two, the other thing that it solves is with this kind of a setup, obviously this and your nozzle cannot coexist in the exact same point. So there's always some level of an offset. So with the original design, the nozzle itself, where the plastic is extruded from, is offset by probably a good 20 millimeters, almost a full inch. And so this no longer has to have that offset set in software. And the problem with that flaw of it being offset by that, if you don't have it exactly right, and say you have it set to 22 when you're actually at 20 apart, then where you're probing, it's going to compensate for, and you'll actually be printing off by a couple of millimeters from where it actually thought it probed. So this solves that problem as well. Takes a little bit of human error out of it, makes setup a little bit easier. So that's part of what we have to do in software, is go through and remove the offset on my probe to now tell it that the probe and the nozzle coexist. They're on the same point in space, because the nozzle is the probe. So I'm going to close the doors up on this guy, and I'm going to take it back into my closet, and we are going to get it powered on and switch over to doing some software changes. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. We forget that we also need actually test that is triggering correctly. I apologize. I didn't realize I left y'all to just stare at my bed. Sound like I graduated from MIT. Nope. I'm just a dude with an associate's degree from a private school that was trash. All right. So, oh. Hey Siri, turn on the 3D printer. Smart outlets are awesome. Oh, that's booting up. Mustache in my mouth. We need to see if it's online yet. looks like it's coming up now. And I could change my video angle here so you don't have to stare at my bed. Instead, you can stare at my storage. Oh, okay, let's try again. There we go. All right. I might need to get one of my children to help me. Let me call one of them in here. Of course, they're probably playing their VRs and can't hear me. I don't know why this one's still spinning. Get with a refresh. Reports. Start up. Oh, one thing I did forget is I could have on the back side. Let me see if I've got if the video's online of it. And it does, there it goes. So once the underlying issue is used for more restart. Interesting. Anyhow, so right back here, you can kind of see in the video just to my side here, there's along the line of the back part of the bed there, closest to me, that line that's kind of right there. About 3/4 of the way away from me, there's a little, what looks like a little white dot. That is a pin where the nozzle used to go and probe to find its Z offset. So that's no longer needed because now it can use the nozzle itself and just probe the bed. Yeah, that's what kids are for, right? My mom told me. So we have this nice little error here. MCU, unable to connect. This might be MCU. Let me look at my printer config. And MCU, that is my Raspberry Pi. No, sorry, that is my actual. So this is my controller board. So if it's not working, I hope I didn't fry something. Interesting. I'm pretty sure I got that thing wired up correctly. All right, let's read what it says. No. Where is it? This one. See what it says about our config changes. All right, there are a few changes you need to make in order to make TAP, in order to get TAP working properly. Under your stepper Z block, you'll want to comment out position and stop. Under stepper Z, okay, so let's go down. Stepper Z settings. Stepper Z. Position and stop. I don't see position max, min, homing speed, second homing speed, and stop pin. I don't see position end stop. Do a search for that. My position end stop is here. Whoop, I hit the wrong button. Dang it. Yeah, the only places I see it are commented out right there already. So that's good. And I need to change end stop pin so that it uses virtual Z. Example, end stop pin, probe Z, virtual end stop. We'll copy that. And we'll come over here. And where did it, okay, here. End stop pin will become probe Z virtual end stop. Be sure to also remove any automatically saved stepper Z position values at the bottom. So at the very bottom here, so there's a saved one. That's probably why the other one was commented out. So this needs to be deleted. This whole thing probably does not need to be there, since it was the only thing under there. Update your Z homing position. If you use safe Z homing, I'll control F, safe underscore Z. We have it safe Z homing set. So change the location to the center of the bed. So as of right now, I have my home set to 208/310. This is a 300 mils bed, so this just now needs to be 150 and 150. All right, so now that's set, or that's set rather. If you have a homing override, let's see if we've got that anywhere. Whoa. HOMING override. I do not have, well, did I spell it right? What's homing over? Okay, so I don't have that in there anywhere, so we're good. Make sure it moves to tool head. Yep, don't need to move anything because we don't have anything. Update your probe's offset. Remember, with tap, your nozzle is the probe. That's what I was saying earlier. So probe X offset and probe Y set offset. So we need to find the probe section and bed probe. Here we go. X offset, Y offset. Yep. See, so we were 25 millimeters off on the Y. Now it will need to be 0. And it says you'll need to manually calibrate the probe Z offset by using probe calibrate. So we're going to copy this for a second and see what else it says. Add taps activate G code. This G code will allow you to probe cold, but will also prevent you from probing with the nozzle at printing temperature. So the reason that this does that is if you have your nozzle heated up to say like 270 degrees Celsius, which is what I would probably print at, and you probe down onto that bed surface, that high of a temperature can damage that PEI sheet. So what it's saying is it's going to prevent you from probing with a hot nozzle, so you don't melt your bed or your print surface. This is also going to go in the probe section of my config. I'll have to come back and grab that probe calibrate, or just remember probe_calibrate. So this activate G code is what I need to copy. And it will go in here. Okay. Activate G code. Okay. So that should be everything in here now. I can save and restart, and then we can start trying to figure out why it is not connecting to my control board. Now we should be done with that. Don't need that for the moment. Refresh our page. The guess is this is going to fail out on us again, and I might have to go see why. All right, I will be right back. Sorry about the boringness there. Not sure what it wasn't happy about, but the only thing I did is that switch that is there for the end stop. I went ahead and disconnected it and restarted everything again, and looks like now everything's happy. So already got some work texts. Oh, already got a work text to answer to real quick. All right, let's see. What am I missing in chat here? Seems like it's cutting out. Oh, that was the mic stuff. Still here, was okay. Sorry, wife called. No, you're good, LDA. All good. Sure. What time is your stream, LDA? You must have got another phone call. Aha. It says 8 p.m. Eastern time. Pocket Institute of Tacos graduate. 1 hour. Yep. We might be done here by then, I think. Masters in taco making. I don't know about making, but I have a master's in taco eating. And when I was out in LA last week, I went to this little like mom and pop taco shop called Vero's Taco. Oh man, their tacos were awesome. My only complaint is their habanero salsa. On a scale of like 1 to 10 on how spicy it is, it was like a 2. So could have done with a little extra spice in there, because for it to be habanero, could have had a little more oomph behind it. All right, let me see if I can get one of my kids to give me a hand real quick. Let me go drag them off of whatever they're playing or watching and see if they can. Basically, I just need to get one of them to lift that carriage assembly up for me so that I can query my end stops like this right here. So we're looking for the probe or end stop Z to be altered. These need to be they need to say triggered once it goes. So let me go call one of them in real quick, and I guess I could throw my camera back on. Yeah, let me go see if I can get one of them in here real quick, and we'll give it a shot. All right, I got a kid to help me, but I just remembered y'all didn't remind me those magnets, right, that are locked in with these 2 screws. We've got to loosen that real quick so that we can get those magnets to lock into place. So let's do that, and then we'll test. So give me 1 second. Okay. Where was I? Okay. You have mass. Oh yeah. Holes in the wall taco place are amazing. Yeah, for sure. Habaneros aren't hot. I mean, they are though. Like on a scale of 2 to 10, they're probably like, or I mean 1 to 10, they're probably like a 5. They're hotter than a jalapeno. Okay, so now I think we are ready to give this a test. I went ahead and backed these screws off, gave it a little jiggle, like it says, and then tighten those down. So hopefully those are good. Okay, now let's get this out of the way. All right, and we'll just confirm that this is all still the same, and let me have him trigger it. Well, yeah, I know the Scoville scale goes above 10. All right, look at that. Triggered. Make sure it doesn't change. And open. All right, so those look correct. So I know all about the Scoville scale. I'm just saying, like to dumb it down simple, like, well, I guess that's not really dumbing it down very simple, huh? Because technically speaking, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the absolute hottest possible, it would be less than like 1. But what I was getting at is like on like a scale of 1 being like mild and 10 being the hottest thing I've ever had, this was like a 2. And like Taco Bell medium sauce is like a 2, maybe even a little higher. Bell peppers are hot to you. That sucks. I like spicy food. All right, so now we know this is working. So now we should be able to go here. We're gonna home. Let's see, do we want to do all of them together? I don't know what this button does. This button didn't used to be here. Oh, remember we need to calibrate. What was it? We aren't quite done with this. We need to probe calibrate. I am not sure what it's going to want me to do when I do this. I forgot how fun it is to be on this side of things. Yeah. Different being on this side. All right. Must home before probe. Okay, so we can't do that. So let's go. So one thing I noticed is we can actually tell if it's working right here too. So you watch. Okay, go ahead and lift it. See how that light went out? And drop it. And on. So that's like an onboard type of indication that it is in fact working. Red, don't push it. What, bud? Nope, all done. Thank you. All right. So now we'll go ahead and or home all. Why not? Are you saying like if this is red to not push it? These aren't buttons. This is just telling you whether it's triggered or open. Like whether the switch is open or closed. Triggered meaning closed, open meaning open. So these aren't really clickable. It's just telling you the status of each home position or each sensor position. Is this the printer your kid made their bed risers? No. So the printer that my son that I had my son printer that I printed the parts that I had my son design for his bed, those were printed on the bamboo. In fact, I might have. Looks like it might be offline. Oh, you know what? I think the application needs to be open. That off while it comes online. Nice. And then now it should come on. Not that you can see the printer, but you can see inside of it. So it showed for a second on the left one. What happened? That was weird. So this one is the one we're currently working on, the one on the left above, right above me there. And this one that's not loading over there is the one that he printed, that I had printed those parts on for him. So anyway, all right. So it looks like it says homing succeeded. So I'm going to go ahead and probe home again. See it in action there. Pretty nice. Nice. Or in action there if you're watching on there. That's good. Now let's see how it does with a quad gantry. We'll see how accurately it probes here. I'm a rookie. Nah, you're good. Even a kid can use a bamboo. Need to just pull the trigger. I actually did the printing for him, but it really is pretty easy. It is the most plug and play printer you could possibly buy. It is very straightforward, very user friendly, and very intuitive. Also, to be fair, so you take me and this out of the way for a second. This interface that you see here. Hey Kyle, how's it going? This is not a interface that you're gonna get with bamboo. Bamboo tries to make things pretty enclosed, where you can't do some of these things like I'm doing here. So this interface is called mainsail, but it's running the firmware. It's interfacing with the firmware on this Voron printer called Clipper. So the interface for the bamboo printer is this, and so this is the actual slicer here. I'm gonna pop my face back on here so I don't feel weird. So this is where you would set a lot of your parameters on the, well, I guess let me take that off for a second. This is where you would set a lot of your parameters on for what you're wanting to do with the print. These are the filaments I have loaded, and to actually control the printer itself is done through this device tab here. And this is the only controls that you get. You can do very generic movements, turn fans on and off, extrude, pull back a little bit. This is all you can do as far as interfacing with this printer. So just keep that in mind. This, like I said, this interface isn't something you'll get to use with a bamboo printer. but this has a lot more things than that has. Like I can manually send commands of any kind I want directly to the printer. I can tell it to go to a set position in space. I can control my Z offset once it's already homed. I can swap to different filaments. I can change my speed factor for printing. Change some print quality settings. I can manually extrude just like that other one, but I can change how much it manually extrudes. And then down here, I got some more controls as well. And then even more controls here with velocity, acceleration, deceleration. So yeah, so this is a little bit different. I really like so this side of things you can do a lot. You can do a lot of things that you can't do with Bamboo. And again, that's because they're a closed ecosystem where they control a lot of things. For example, one of the things I can do is I can open up and view let me see. It's trying to open from my computer. Basically, I can open up files in here. I can even watch this real time. It'll kind of show me what I'm printing and how far along the print process we are, and it'll move in real time with it. I'll have to show you this if we do a test print. We might be able to do a little quick test print. I can come in and look at all my print history and everything as well. Ajax, how big is your print area? On this printer here, this is a 300 millimeter cubed, so 300 XY. Technically, the Z axis isn't quite 300 because a little bit is lost to some other things, but yeah. So technically, it's a 300 cubed on this printer. On the printer that I can't get to load up right over here, it is 256 cubed, 256 by 256 by 256. That's just those two. I have one printer that goes all the way up to 500 mil by 500 mil by 500 mil. Good, just getting ready for a show here in my area and on the edge of buying a 3D printer. You can also exclude objects that you are printing in Clipper. Yes, yes, and that is another. I don't know if I can show. I can only show that if so. I think we'll set up a test print. I'll go throw some filament in, and we'll start a test print. Before we do that, though, we do need to do this probe calibrate. But yeah, I'll show how you can do an object exclusion on here that you cannot do with Bamboo. And what object exclusion is say I put on here 10 different little things that are printing at once, and one of them is very clear that it's going to fail or detach. Yeah, 256 is a pretty decent size for most things. If you're into like cosplay and you want to print like Iron Man helmets and stuff, for most people's size heads, you can probably get it to fit on a 256. If it's getting like if you wanted to print a Darth Vader helmet, you probably wouldn't be able to print that on a 256. You'd probably need a 300 or 350. But yeah, it just kind of depends. You could always break them into smaller pieces, but a lot of times when it comes to those kinds of things, if you can get them to print well in one big go, it'll do better for you. It'll look better overall. But yeah, so I'll show you that part exclusion when we do a test print and kind of explain what it is and how it works. But let me go get some filament loaded in. Actually, let me kick to this probe calibrate and see what it's going to ask for. Oh, that's pretty interesting. I wish it would tell me what it is I'm trying to do here. my assumption is my goal is to get this starting Z manual Z probe, use test Z to adjust position, finish with accept. Guess is I need to get this down to 0.2 millimeters. Interesting. It's not something I can move. Glad to hear it, Portraits. Where are you from? Nebraska. Oh way, cool. We're in Nebraska. My whole family is from there. I'm in Missouri. All the Huskers fans. I think if I'm going to do this, though, I want to do it in the middle of the bed, and as it looks like it is in that front corner. Did it move there on his? Let's go abort. Go home. Now we'll do probe calibrate. Yeah, that's where we want to be, right in the middle of the bed. All right. Let me see if I can find some information real quick on doing a manual home here. All right, let's see what it says. Flipper probe calibrate tool can be used to obtain this value. Providing an accurate as the offset is distance between the nozzle and the bed when the probe triggers. Start by homing the printer and then move the head to a position near the center of the bed. Navigate. Yeah, I'm not using Octoprint, but run calibrate. This tool will perform an automatic probe, then lift the head, move the nozzle over the location of the probe point, and start the manual probe tool. If the nozzle does not move to a position above the automatic probe point, then abort. Once the manual probe tool starts, follow the steps. Paper test to determine the actual distance between the nozzle and the bed at the given location. Once those steps are complete, one can accept the position and save the results to the config file with save config. So we'll copy that. So yes, this is the paper test. This is what I kind of thought. So it wants us to, or wants me to get a sheet of paper. I have one nearby. And then put it in between the bed and the probe. And then it wants me to lower that nozzle down until it just touches that paper. And then click accept and then save. So let's do that. And find a piece of paper real quick. Take one out of the printer. Let me see. I should be able to give you that view so you can kind of see what I'm doing as well. A little bit bigger anyway. All right, I think we got that set. You know, Kyle would never do that. Oh, nice, my whole family. He's marketing for people to move to Missouri. You are catching on. They didn't update docs. For the how do you say that? Basursi. You're talking about the TAP docs where how to do this homing once you're all done with the install. I'll definitely identifies as from California. When I lived in California, I was watching the Rose Bowl game, USC versus Texans. Or sorry, versus Texas. Everyone at watch party was going for USC, and so I went for Texas. Such a great game. I kept them in my in my list of teams. Sorry, I got some work text going on at the moment. Okay, sorry about that. Good Texas. I got 18 mugs. Not much out of the way. Okay, better than Aoki. I'm the Nebraska fan. Okay. All right. So I believe we've got that saved. So we just need to do a save config. And it's going to do a little restart. Don't necessarily need that one up there anymore. Let's do another home. I am quite pleased with this upgrade so far. I'm very happy to get rid of this thing. I had so many probe failures running this thing. I wonder if there's a probing speed that they recommend that is different than what I'm running. So as far as upgrades go, this one was actually rather quick as well. Pretty happy with how fast it went. I mean, we've been live for how long now? 2 hours. And I believe we're at the point now where we can actually set up for a test print. Yeah, that went really nice. One retry and it got it. Very nice. Okay. So do I have some here? Nope. Let me see if I got something. See if I got an easy file to pull in. So somebody on this stream may have once asked me to design a part for a Trigicon spacer. So, let's see. I don't think this is dimensionally accurate. This was just a quick test, quick draw up that it's something small that I can throw a couple of them down like so. I did forget to load in some did forget to throw in some filament. I think I'm going to use the gray, but I'm not sure if I have my filament settings right for gray. They might be right. That's right. We'll run the gray. Auto arrange, slice. I wish it would decide this before it arranges whether it needs that, but that's all right. Slice. I like to bring, let's see. Try to put this in a way where you guys can actually see when it moves. Space them out a little bit. I'll space them out like that. That should give it a good view in the camera, I believe. Yeah, that looks familiar, right, LDA? All right, so this says this is going to be a 5-minute print, and this should, having multiple, I should be able to kind of show the object exclusion options as well. So let me go ahead and pop that one up on. Why does it keep cutting out the video? Come on, OBS, what are you doing? Okay. One thing I do need to do is preheat. My bed's going to take a minute to heat up. I probably should have done this already. And while that's going, I can go load up some filament. So turn this off for a second, and I'll go get some filament loaded in. All right. As you can see, it takes a little bit for that bed to get up to 110 degrees Celsius. I apologize, I don't have any kind of background music playing or anything. I'll have to get LDA to show me how to set up stream beats. See, take some time. I'm going to be going to church here soon. There's that Ryan Patrick. Fanboy. First use that name. John is now Crypto John. That's right. He switched it back. You're still here. Me? Yeah, I'm still here. Spotify? No, I don't. I have Apple Music. I think I have a Pandora account as well. I guess I'm not monetized, so would they just pull my streams down if I have copyright music playing? Yep, getting ready for my stream, was taking the dogs out. Spotify is the easiest route. But what happens if you play copyright music and you're not monetized? Do they pull your stream down, or you just won't count towards getting monetized? They can pull it down. It's kind of what I figured, but oh well. Break one. They have the new thing where you can just pull, like, it'll mute copyright content, right? I'm just not sure how all that works. Especially when it comes to like monetized versus not monetized. Not that I'm anywhere close. I can't message you, portrait. We're up to 71C now. We're moving. I guess it's only, yeah. I mean, I only have 20 subscribers, so. I could. Oops, there we go. Throw my face back up there. It can give you a copyright strike, and then you aren't eligible for X amount of time, or you can pay for rights to use the song or songs in the video, or get sued by copyright holder potentially if they wanted to be dicks. Yeah. Yeah. Is what it is. I don't know. That's kind of why I would, for the moment, just like rather not play anything until I know for sure I can get something up there that's not going to cause any kind of headaches one way or the other. 78 degrees. We're getting there. I wonder why this one's working. Have it open. It should work. Video works there. Oh well, whatever. Checking what it's. Oh yeah, I can't check settings because it's pulling it from another scene. Oh, whatever. Oh well. Stream Beats, you can use Spotify or download the songs. Oh, okay. Up to 86C. Lyman. The slow waiting game. Well, we just hit 90C. Once I hit about 95, the extruder heat, I haven't heated the extruder up yet because the extruder will heat up in a matter of about 10 seconds. So probably once we hit about 95, 98, I'll go ahead and preheat that as well. So these parts that I'm going to print, I actually have absolutely no use for them. They probably don't even work for what they were designed for. But we'll use them as a way to kind of showcase how to do the exclude objects that you can't do in Bamboo's software yet. I assume they are going to add it at some point. More, yeah, I'm gonna try to, Kyle. It's a matter of being home and not working a lot. So as of right now, it's been kind of nice. I've been able to work from home the last few days rather than being out in California or something. So it is a goal to try to be on here a little bit more and do these kinds of things. So I was excited to be able to get this upgrade done. Parts came in and everything around the same time that I was able to get home. So it is a nice nice time to be able to try. All right, we're at 98. We're going to go ahead and just preheat the whole thing for ABS. As you can see, we're now heating up our nozzle, which is climbing much faster. Have a good one, Kyle. We'll see you. I think I'm going to have to get another camera set up in there looking at the two printers from a little bit further back. That way you can see kind of both of them instead of just this view of the parts. I might actually come back over here and change our position. Be a little bit closer to the camera over here. That should give us a decent view, I think. Actually, move them to that first one's probably going to be centered in the camera right in here a little better. And there we go. It's all sliced up, and see our nozzle's already at 260 degrees, and we're still only at about 104C. But I'm going to go ahead and hit print just because it's going to take a minute for it to go around. It's going to redo the quad gantry level. It's going to recheck every corner. It's going to rehome a couple of times. So we're going to select upload and print, and we should see it pop in here. And it's going to go through its homing process. Don't let Kyle boss you around. Nope, the fact that Kyle's here, he can say whatever he likes. As long as it's not rude to anybody else in chat. As long as we're being respectful, I'm just glad he's here. All right, here. I want to do. See how many are watching. We've got 6 of you guys in here, so I appreciate each and every one of you that are here. what he said was rude. LDA lets people be rude to me. Thanks. He said thank you. Oh yeah, that's pretty rude. See, one thing I forgot is now with this probe being the nozzle being the probe, it had to cool my nozzle down to 150 to be able to even be able to probe home. So I should probably adjust that. Now, frame per second is pretty atrocious. My goodness. There we go. Temperature's finally low enough. Finish homing. So now I should also be able to, we don't necessarily need this up. We should be done with that. Take this full screen. No, it hasn't. Okay. So once it's actually printed, okay, cool portraits. Now I gotta go for real LDA. You can talk trash. So once it's actually, probably don't need two of those up. Once it's actually printing objects, I should have an option up here in the printer status box to see which objects it's got on the build plate. One other thing I probably need to do is need to do a slight adjustment. I'll have to do it when I'm in at the printer, so I'll do it from like my phone or something. Probably won't do it on stream. So what it is that I need to do is with this new carriage, it moves the nozzle away from the X about 3 millimeters further than it used to be, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in its own, because I used to be able to reach behind the bed by like 10 millimeters. So all I need to do is just adjust where my 0 is now, so it's not trying to move so far that the nozzle's coming off the bed. I might even be able to move my whole bed back a few millimeters as well. And LDA, your hair is just flowing in your thumbnail. Okay, I'm gonna have to change something. See, it failed to load up my filament on filament 0 because of the temperature now. And so it just canceled the entire print because of it. But it had to be at that temperature to be able to probe home. So I have to figure out what I need to change, what kind of pauses and stuff I need to put in here to make this even work. But my workaround should be that I can go ahead and Preheat for ABS again. Now that I'm up above 100 and, I'm already, whatever. It's already up to temperature almost. So now I should be able to go ahead and just select which filament I want it to load. This is where it'd be good to have a camera in there looking down at the printer so I can see that if it's actually bringing in that filament. It will tell me in the log here, but it'd just be nice to visually be able to see it from the other room without, without wondering, is it working? Is it something wrong? Did I forget something? Oh, you know what I probably need to do? Because it says I was already on tool 0, is I probably need to go ahead and unlock and eject. Because what it probably did is it probably fed that filament all the way almost to the tool head, but then once it got close, triggered that alarm and failed everything because it was worried that it was going to try to push filament through a cold nozzle. Why did it go back to 150 though? Interesting. Like the one that comes, no, so even with the P1P, the camera that comes with it is for mounting inside the chamber. And if I could get this thing to work, I would be able to show you. Actually, I can probably still show you by bringing up this. So this is the angle you'll get when you install that camera. It's still just looking in at the actual build plate when you mount it up the way that they say. What I was thinking about is, so one of the YouTubers that covers a lot of things about 3D printing, Uncle Jesse, I think he did a video on, that's what his channel's called, Uncle Jesse. I think he did a video on some of the they're almost just like remote home cameras that you can kind of set up wherever and view them through your phone. I'm not sure if I were to use something like that, if there is a way to port that video signal into OBS to be able to use. Something I'd have to look into. If not, what I could do is just add another camera and plug it into the Raspberry Pi that is running this printer. There you go, filament ejected. So to home my feeder, it dropped my temperature to the homing temperature. That's interesting. So now you have to ramp that back up to 260 again. So this is my workaround. I'm going to have to figure out basically how to tell it to pause and heat to temperature prior to trying to load my filament. Probably have to load that into the feeder macro. Kind of a pain, but this is all the stuff that you wouldn't have to deal with in a bamboo printer, because this kind of thing is, you don't have to do this because they do it all for you behind the scenes. It's all done in a way where you'll never even have to mess with it. So now that we're ejected, now we should be okay to go ahead and load tool 0. So now it's saying we're enabling 0 and loading filament to the extruder. We should get a message up here that says loading move done. See ya, Londart. We'll be over on your channel in a sec. I got to be pretty close to done, I think. There we go. So that's what we care about. Load successful. We're up to temperature. It's going to go ahead and drop back to 150 when I restart this print. So I just manually set it to 150 so I wouldn't have to wait as long. But it saved me much time because it's still trying to cool. A lot of waiting time when you're dropping temperature. I think it might take longer for it to cool down than it does to heat up. Oh man, I thought we would have already been printing by now. I didn't realize it was going to run into these kinds of order of operation issues. Yeah, gotta love when the kids just turn lights off when they walk out of a. I mean, it's like to get it ingrained into their brain that they need to turn off a light when they leave the room is so difficult, and then they don't even do it all the time. But they seem to only do it when you don't want them to do it because there's still somebody in the room. Like they'll leave for school, and I'll walk out in my living room, and every light is on. Yeah, Wi-Fi. Yeah, so I'm in an apartment at the moment, so I don't have Wi-Fi bulbs, but I have a bunch of the switches that you install that can be controlled um, through like your Apple's HomeKit and whatnot. I have them all already. I have a dimmer for like in here, and then just on-off switches for other things like fans and stuff. But it's not something I really want to install in a place where I'm just renting. I just have to pull it all back out again. I went ahead and did my thermostat, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to do everything. So I love the smart home stuff though. Like I have speakers, TV, like my TVs and stuff. I can turn those on and off. So definitely, eventually, we'll have as much of it done up as I can whenever I'm in a house. Hopefully, in the next couple of years, just light bulbs. Fine. I mean, at that point, you almost don't need them, other than like if you're in the room and you want to tap it on without like doing anything crazy. But all right, there we go. See, now that it's not trying to load the filament and the filament that it's going to print with is already there, it doesn't have to worry about trying to load it while it was too low of a temperature. So that was my little workaround just to be able to put plastic down and get it moving and see how our Z height is set now. And as far as I can tell, the tap is working 100%. Oh, or the probe system. The probe system is working very well. Oh, it looks like I probably had some residual TPU in there. Nice. Let me go wipe that off and check how the layer's looking. If I need to adjust anything. Yep, we definitely need to lower that Z height just a little bit. We probably need to pause this. Yeah. Let me actually go ahead and stop it. And I'm going to take my phone in there so I can drop my Z height from in there. Well, I used to be top 10, but I was fortunate. I was lucky. Unlucky that I didn't take what I needed to be able to be in a house when I could have. Yeah, cooldown takes a minute. So that's why I went ahead and started it already. I'm going to go in there and clear the globs off. And yeah, some of us get real lucky on launches and didn't have to spend a lot to get a nice bag. Exactly. And that's exactly what happened for me. And then, like I said, when I had enough that I could have taken a good amount out and been able to move into a house, I didn't do that. And now we're in a bear market. And so now I don't have that option. But maybe someday. Still quite high in the holder count. So when you take out all the burn wallet and stuff, I'm probably still about top 25. Yeah, for sure. Everyone needs to have a Utama year to learn. Yeah, right. 10 billion for $2,500 at once. Yeah. Yeah, I think I paid a little bit less than that. Think about, you want to talk about lucky. So, okay. So now that that's done, I'm going to go clear that off and then we'll restart the print. Basically, everything on the screen that you see in the background, I can also do from my phone. So I'm going to do that from in there right after I clean it all off so I can kind of watch that first layer going down. And then what I'm going to be doing is, let me turn my camera off so you can see the button behind me there. I'll be using these little buttons right here to adjust that Z offset to bring it down towards the bed just a little bit because it's a little too high. So I will do that from in there and I'll see you guys in a second. All right, sorry about that. So after some tweaking, I was able to get that thing adjusted down. You can see I had to go down 0.2 mil. So now that that's done, I'll be able to save this, but I can't do it while it's printing. But one thing I can show real quick is, like we were saying earlier, so this is a feature that you can do with Clipper that you cannot do with Bamboo's firmware, at least at the moment, until they add this ability, which I'm sure a lot of people are asking for. I'm sure they'll do it at some point, but this little button that's now popped up here next to my option to pause the print is one to exclude objects. So if I click this, it'll show that this is the origin of the bed, which is my my front left corner, and this is where each part is sitting. So like, see how that one came off? I need to cancel that one, which is this one. So I can hit exclude, or actually no, it was this one. So I can hit exclude. Now it's actually excluding that front one as well. But now it won't try to print those two. So as it was starting to print, that part right there was still a little bit too, it was still a little bit too far from the bed when it started to print, so I didn't get good layer adhesion. So that's it. It's already done printing, but as you were able to see, as you saw, I was able to cancel that, and so it skipped over that one entirely and went to that one. And the reason for that is just like this case right here, where it detached from the bed. If this happened on the Bamboo, I would have been canceling that whole print. Now these were just little short guys that were only like 3 layers high to begin with, or what was it, 5 layers high. So these are only 1 mil tall to begin with. So I didn't get much time to cancel it. Excuse me. But yeah, done printing file. But had this been something that was much taller and that part failed, your only option would be on the Bamboo would be to cancel the whole thing, which, like I said, that's just something for them to add. It's a feature they can add. I'm sure they will add. It will be there eventually. So if it were me, I wouldn't be buying a printer based off of that one feature. It is nice to have, but to the Bamboo's defense, most times it's probably going to print right the first time, because you aren't like you saw me going back and manually setting that Z height. You don't do that with the Bamboo. It's you put it in, you click go, and it automatically does that for you. So there is no level of you messing with it in any way. But now that the print is done, I can go ahead and click save, so we can save that probe offset. So it's been calculated and registered. Click on save config to save and restart Clipper. So we'll go ahead and save. Because it's saved and restarted, our homing positions will all be lost. Just gotta wait a quick second for it to reinitialize everything. You can see now they're all orange, saying, hey, we don't know where home is. Well, that can be corrected just by homing everything again. But yeah, I think we're going to call it there. I am going to probably go clear that bed off real quick, and then I will jump on Lawn Dart's stream, where we will be talking about crypto, I am sure. So y'all have a good night, and likely we'll see you guys over there. Later.